So tell us, again, on a sort of a biographical note, you spent some time with Taki, and then you eventually set up shop on your own. Mm-hmm. How did that come about, and what's happened since?
In the time that I was working with Taki, I wasn't doing very much of my own work. I did that first in Luthier that we talked about in his workshop, but then the other guitars that I built of my own were all outside of the Taki workshop, except for maybe some minor things every now and then. So I was satisfied as a guitar maker from what was going on there, and didn't feel a lot of need to express myself with my own work and whatnot. It was a very rich learning period for me. However, after a few years, I was ready to start experimenting myself, not experimenting with new designs necessarily, but just getting out on my own. And so I set up a room in the apartment that I was renting, and was able to start doing some work there.
And this was what year?
This was 2003, I think, or 2004. So I continued like that for a year, and I was still frequenting the Taki workshop maybe half time during that period. A year after that, or maybe 2 years after that, I established my own workshop. I actually had a workshop space that was outside of my house in Florence, and began there more in earnest to start to build a clientele and working out my own methods and setting up to work in a more independent way. I continued off and on to have contact with Taki during that period, but gradually it was less and less. I was in that space for I guess 3 years, at which point I bought a workshop space in Florence on the other side of the river, just inside the historic center of Florence. And since then have been really doing my own work and on my own. And the contact that I have with Taki is now not professional, let's say. I mean, we see each other occasionally. Our kids, my stepdaughter and his son, were in the same class in middle school, and so we see each other outside the school sometimes there. But as far as being a luthier goes, I'm completely on my own now, and have been since I basically made the step of setting up my own shop there, buying my own shop.
And that brings us to the current moment.
Brings us to now.
Yeah, great.
So,